Well, there could be a lot of negativity directed towards someone who buys a car because it's said that cars depreciate, they go down in value, and you can buy too much car. Uh, but I want to say this before we get into car payments and how a car can help and hurt you. I want to say that a car provides great independence if you have the ability to drive, because I do know some people that have epilepsy, they have seizures, they can't drive. But if you have the ability to drive, the positive of a car is great independence. Okay, I remember when my grandmother passed, she came from Italy, she never got her driver's license, and she said at the end of her life that was one of her great regrets because she was never fully independent. She always had to depend on other people to take her somewhere. So a car gives you great independence. Second, it can provide you income. Okay, whether it's driving you to your main job, whether it's doing DoorDash, Uber, or Lyft, a car can be used as an income source. Also, if you were into contracting, right, that's how you get your tools to the job. If you were a landscaper, etc., right? So there's a lot of things that you can use a car for that are not wasteful, that are not stupid. They're smart. However, okay, here we go now. However, just like everything, you have to learn over time to develop self-control, because you can get too much car, you can have too many cars, and just like at a buffet, while it may be exciting to see all that food, if you eat it all and you eat too much, you're going to get sick. And as you get older, you realize the key to life is not a secret, it's knowing your limit, it's self-control, which is a goal. None of us achieve it all the time, but when you have goals, you tend to end up in a better place than without, because you're structuring your life, okay, rather than just winging it and going by your gut and impulses. And so the first step, because there's plenty, when I was in my 20s, and when you're in your teens and your 20s, a car is your main thing, right? You really don't have a house yet. You really don't have kids yet, most people. So, your car is your everything. So in your 20s, you're going to be a little reckless. That's okay. The key is, okay, as you get older, because this is about development, not being, you have a right to experience life. The key is, as you get to your mid to late 20s and your 30s, this is what you wanted to develop, because this will add to your quality of life. This will give you financial freedom while still allowing you to enjoy. So again, when you're young, indulge. As you get older, develop. So as you get older, the first step to using a car wisely and not foolishly is get to one car. There was a period in my life I had two cars, and it was wasteful. Why? Because I would say almost all people don't need two cars. You can only drive one at a time, and there's carrying cost. Even if they're both paid off, you have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for maintenance, and if one car just sits, that's the worst thing a car can do, is just sit. They're meant to be driven to keep the hoses and machinery lubricated. So if you have more than one car, for most people, okay, and I'm not talking about if you're a couple, okay, just take it as one person. If you're married, I still think probably each adult should have a car, because you need your independence. You need to be able to get away from someone. So each adult, one car, okay, one car. Next is your salary versus your car. Nowadays I've been seeing, and it's no judgment because I've overexpended on a car, and this was my first step to financial freedom, downsizing my car and staying downsized. Because again, the only way you get ahead is if you minimize your expense and you maintain or maximize your income. Okay, so right now, pickup trucks and regular cars, you're looking at $50,000 to $80,000 for the average car. You're looking at a car payment between $700 to $1,100 per month. Most people, okay, guys, make $50,000 to $75,000 per year, okay, and they're spending more on their car than their salary. Okay? Most people, okay, some people make less, some people make more, but even if you make good money, that's a lot of car, okay. And as you get older, I've been there where I've overspent on car, but I've also been there where I had to be honest with myself. What you need to do is stop at a certain point in life, stop rationalizing cars, because you can rationalize anything. Be honest with yourself, and say, okay, I got to downsize my car. Okay, you need something reliable, but even if you bought a brand new Kia Soul for $25,000, that's better than tripling that, okay, with a pickup truck that you probably don't use, or SUV, or whatever, okay. And you got to keep that car for about 7 years for it to be a return on your investment, okay, with some periodic maintenance. And this was the first step. There's two major steps. One, get to one car. Two is, most people, based on most people's salary, you can't get around the data, they should not own more than a $30,000 car. So for most people, if your car is more than $30,000, you're overextended. Unless you make over 150 to 200 grand per year, then you can go up to 50 or 60,000. But even that's, how much do you really need? How much time do you spend in your car? What's your car for? Do you want financial freedom? Always ask yourself, do you want financial freedom? It's going to be very hard with a high car payment, and then you do to roll that payment into something else. So the first step to financial freedom, beyond not having kids or limiting your kids, and beyond not too much house, is your car. And I practice what I preach. I've overextended on my car. And the first step was, I got to one car, and then I downgraded my car. I bought a car below $30,000, and I kept it for more than 5 years, and I still have it. And it took me a couple times, because in my 30s I downsized my car and I paid it off, and then I upgraded again. So again, you have a right to experience it just like me, but at a certain point you'll have to be honest with yourself, just like me. If you want financial freedom, if you want to get ahead in life, you could afford it. And does it matter? It doesn't. If that's what you want, do what you want. Okay. As I get older, I don't care what people do, as long as they don't bother me. This is for people that were at a similar point than me. If you desire, because whatever your personal goals, if you desire to be financially independent as much as possible, if you desire to control more of your money that you work for, rather than just feeling like you're working just to pay for stuff, it's not trying to figure out how to live on nothing. It's not trying to, guys, it's a simple thing, guys. Most people should not have more than a $30,000 car. Most people should not have more than one car. And that's how you get out of car payment debt. That's how you reposition your life, especially as you get older, and you can position yourself more for a healthy retirement. And that's how you understand asset allocation, how much you should spend on things, and what things go up in value and what things go down, and you're still enjoying life. Because as you're older, I get it, when you're young, you just want to impress people and have fun, and you should. But as you get older, what are you trying to do? You're trying to be a middle-aged person or an elderly person pulling up in a nice car. You think people care? They barely care when you're young. They care when you're young, but I see the older people in a Cadillac. They come out looking like a corpse. No one's impressed. I see middle-aged women with 2 kids pulling in an Audi. Guys, no one cares. Why? But no disrespect, because I know some great people that are very well financially. They have some of these things, and I admire them. But I'm sharing that also, if you feel burdened, downsize your car. If live free. Let your biggest asset, after your emergency fund, after you're paid off debt, let your biggest asset be your property. And then just have the money bag, and then, allocate from there. But for me, in my experience, which I just shared with you, is at a certain point, you got to look at your car as either your biggest stumbling block, because it's one of your top 3 biggest expenses. Having a child, number 1, having a house, number 2. Having a car, number 3, is your biggest expense. And if you don't look at that, and because most people are not a millionaire, and if you have a desire to be a millionaire, or you just have a desire to have more control of your life, this is minimalism. Okay, minimalism is not buying a new pickup truck and an RV and say, "Oh, I'm a minimalist." No, you're living above your means, and you're that poor asset allocator. But you have a right to do what you want. There's no disrespect. Because this is just me. Everyone's different. I respect that. This is my channel. I'm sharing my perspective. If you're similar to me, and you want to be free financially, but still enjoying your life and still having a reliable car, buy a car below $30,000, pay it off, keep it for more than 5 years, and then figure out what you want to do. Why? Because then you understand Okay, a car is getting you from A to B. You're a middle-aged person. Okay, you want to be financially free. You don't want to be dependent on others. And you look at materialism different. Minimalism doesn't mean you can't have anything, but it means you look at materialism different. What does it really do for me? How long do I really keep this thing? Did you buy a car 2 years ago that you loved, you said you would never sell, and then all you did was sell it and you got another car and now you say you love it even if you paid too much for it? It's a cycle. Break that cycle because no one cares. Okay? And this is about your well-being financially and emotionally, because once you get control over what you're doing and how you're doing it, you emotionally feel better about yourself. But the hard part is discipline. Why? Because you always got to remember the parable of being in a buffet. You know, it's like we want everything, and if we don't control ourselves, we'll get everything, but we'll throw up. Why? Can only have so much. Hope that helped a little bit. I'll see you next video.